Hi there, I'm Cece. Welcome to my badass life. So you might be wondering what prompted my video from yesterday, and I think it's this. I've had at least 4 conversations in the last couple of weeks about the stress related to anxiety from my friends in the cancer community. And I think whenever I go to the doctor and I'm asked how I'm doing, I feel compelled to do a couple of things. One is to share the positives of what's happening in my health situation. The second thing is to be realistic in sharing what is continuing to cause me either physical symptoms or stress, um, because I truly don't believe in just sugarcoating it and pretending like everything's fine. Because quite frankly, I think sometimes what happens is, the doctors want to hear you're good, right? They want to hear that you're well, and they want to hear that things are good with you and that you're getting your quality of life back. And for some of us, there are barriers to that will go on forever. For instance, being a rectal cancer survivor, experience LARS, lower anterior resection syndrome, which means that I go to the bathroom many times a day. And as long as I'm not on somebody else's bathroom schedule, that's not a problem. But in terms of quality of life, it's much more challenging. For instance, last week, we actually trained our first in-person workshop since COVID. And we did it from 8 a.m. in the morning to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And that happens to be the window that I poop the most times. And so I had to get up at 5 a.m. in order to be able to eat, in order to be able to poop before I left the house. And then all of a sudden that day, my body decided to do a clean out, which is what happens. There's this cycle of sort of constipation and then not constipation and then constipation and then not constipation. So my body decided to do a clean out that day. So I literally went to the bathroom 4 times before we left the house that morning. We were a half an hour late getting there, which was fine because we needed to do setup. So we just had to set up a little sooner. And then we park our van in the parking lot so that I could leave whenever I needed to during the training. Thankfully, we were co-facilitating. It was real colors, by the way, in case you're interested. That was a topic of our very first podcast, actually our second podcast, if I remember correctly, CCnDoc Talk. And the bottom line is, it does affect quality of life. So, so all that being said, so when I go to the doctor's office, I feel like it's important to be realistic about what's happening in my body. And I do that for 2 reasons. One is for me, because I think that it's important that they know that they also know that when cancer treatment ends, it doesn't mean that everything just goes back to normal. Because it doesn't. And I also don't believe in basically pretending like everything's just all, kittens and butterflies all the time. It's not. And I know they know that. And while I understand that they also need reassurance to feel good about the work that they did with me, I mean, that's their validation, me coming in and saying, I feel really good. Um, and I also think it's okay for them to understand that there are still challenges. And I also do that. The second reason I do that is for other people, for the people who can't say those things, for the people who do feel like they need to go into the doctor and act like everything's fine. And believe me, there are a lot of them. Um, I feel like I speak for myself on a regular basis, and I speak for others who either don't have a voice or who choose not to exercise it or can't exercise it because of maybe a fear of repercussions or conflict aversion, or just not willing to be that vulnerable in front of their medical providers and or their family members. So yesterday's video was really about me as well as other people. I speak for me and I speak for you. And so because of that, I would also love to hear and see your comments on this potential video series to see what you want me to talk about, in terms of the cancer journey and the rectal cancer experience. And I always say, ask me anything. That's what Amy and I always said when we came together in our relationship, our lesbian relationship. We always said, ask us anything. We'll be happy to answer. And I will say the same thing about my cancer journey. Ask me anything. I'm willing to answer. And if you would like to share a part of your journey in the comments, I welcome that as well. And I know that all of us can help each other, and we can help those who are not a part of the cancer community to understand and have a little more compassion. Have a great, great, great weekend.